good morning. My name is Ifunanya Olisaemeka from Brainbox Marketing, and you're welcome to another episode on Below the Line. And today with me, I have the wonderful Tolu Medebem, who is the incoming Vice President of EXMAN. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm very fine, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
So
as well.
please introduce yourself, your name, what you do.
Okay, so my name is Tolu Medebem. I'm the CEO, Aster Integrated Marketing Services. It's an experiential marketing agency. Of course, below the line, that's why I'm here.
Yes.
And we're kind of like new because it's 3 years. I mean, I've been in the industry over 20 years.
Okay.
But sometime 3 years ago, I decided to set out on my own, and here we are.
So what has been your marketing industry journey?
Okay, so I started, like I said, over 20 years ago, 2000 actually to be precise, with one of the first ever then marathon events. But of course, it's defunct now, and from there moved on into several other agencies. And at one time had a stint with the Dangote Group, Dancer.
Okay.
Where I was the consumer and marketing manager for a while. And then, of course, back to agency. And here I am.
Okay, so could you shed a bit of light as to what made you switch from the agency to client, and what again drove you back to agency?
So I worked with agency for so long, and honestly, the move to client wasn't anything, it wasn't based on anything in particular. It was just the opportunity came and I took it.
Okay.
I just felt, okay, fine. I guess I just took it on the thought, on the off chance of let's do something different.
Yes.
And I think that's just what it was. It wasn't like I was prompted by that, but I mean, the opportunity came and okay, so let's
adventure.
do it. Thank you. It is adventure. I think that's, if there was any prompting, it would have been adventure, because one of the things I then realized over the course of my career is that in the course of this thing you call adventure, I'm not the person that would sit down. Once I begin to itch, once I begin to chaff, I move on, you understand?
Okay.
And then where I'd worked before I went to the Dangote Group was probably one of the longest. And like I said, so I think at that point, moving on from there was then some form of adventure. So, hey girl, this is the longest you've spent here. Do something else.
Yeah.
And then the longest after that was the other company that I formed in partnership with one of my very good friends, which we ran for 10 years.
Wow.
And then it was from that, Event Plus it was called then, and it was from that 10 years, I then moved on into Aster right now on my own.
Wow. And how has this journey been?
Well, it's been fun, it's been stressful, it's been painful, it's been heart-wrenching. And I use all those because, unfortunately, like I said, it's 3 years. That's 2018, and then 2019, a great year we didn't expect, and then 2020 happened. Exactly. So, I mean, Q3 2021, fingers crossed. Yes.
But so far in the 3 years, what has been your best moment or best experience? Maybe even your best activation. What has been that peak moment for you?
Okay, so we started, and one of our first clients was an old client that we had spoken to, and it was like, okay, let's see how it goes. And we got jobs from them. And then the best moment really was when we had to pitch for a business, for a multinational, and we pitched and we won. Oh. And it was a shock, because the pitch was not even something we had actually really set out to do. It was somebody that just said, oh, there's this link to this company, try it. And we tried it, and we got called in along with other agencies, and we went in for the presentation. And then they called us back and said, and it really, at that point, it actually was a digital plan that we were called in for. But looking at the plan, we now said, look, digital alone, does it work? Yes, we can do the digital, because at this point we realized that we needed to also up our ante. So we did the digital, but we just looked at it based on the brief. What else can work? Experiential works here. it gives them the numbers they're after. If we're able to do that, what they're after was numbers. If we give them the numbers, then we've done the job.
Yeah.
And that was why they called us back, because they said to us that we actually had given them something different from everybody else. And that was a great moment for me, because at that point, I mean, you're supposedly new, and you're winning a pitch with a multinational, and hey. So that was one of the great moments for us.
Okay, so speaking of digital, do you think digital marketing has slowly encroached into experiential? That now, actually post-COVID, is there a slim chance, or in your opinion, do you think that the world might just forget experiential and lean more towards digital?
So digital, if we had actually from the outset been doing experiential, really, digital would have been like a subset, so to say, of experiential. I mean, where we just had the recently concluded EXMAN summit.
Yes.
And it was a hybrid activity. And the hybridness in terms of it was the fact that there was a live interaction and there was online interaction.
Yes.
Essentially, what's experiential about? Creating experiences.
Yes.
Where you're creating experiences with live activities. Live activities actually do not have to be live, we're seated together. Live activities is that I'm actually having an activity and everybody can see it and everybody can partake of it. And that's what experiential marketing is a two-way communication. So whether it's live, you and I seated, or live, we could actually have been having this discussion, you on one end of the world, and we could still be doing this, and that's a two-way street, and that's what essentially experiential is. So one of the things I think in terms of experiential is that in terms of digital, like you said, is encroach as much as it would encroach into experiential. Honestly, what it's pretty much going to do is to really enhance the experience in terms of that. And what experiential is doing is creating experiences, creating lasting memories. And if my lasting memories are also ingrained into some form of digital, and then digital makes it even more special, then let's do it.
And you can even reach more people.
Exactly, because the truth about experiential, when you think about it, is the fact that as you're actually running that experiential activity, you're also curating content. What do I mean by curating content? Let's assume I have a concert. I have a live concert. When I have a live concert, it's recorded. If it's recorded, what do I do with it? I amplify it. Exactly. When I amplify it on social media. I could cut down into a documentary. I could cut down into a TV series. Exactly. So pretty much that's what it does. And then of course, we're not going to do, so you've done the activity with 5,000 people. By then creating and curating those memories, you're actually able to reach a larger audience. So from the 5,000 people who actually attended the event, you move on to like 5 million or even more by doing all those other activities.
That's amazing. How soon did you become aware of the experiential marketing industry?
So, like I said, 2000, I got a call from a friend who said, let's do this. And let's do this was what? Start up a company doing experiential marketing.
Sorry?
What's experiential marketing? So at this point, it was a new company and it was going to have like a South African affiliation. So the first set of things that was done for me and some other people was lessons. So we went into South Africa. We had some different immersions. I ran a couple of events along with the team there. So we got to understand what exactly we're talking about. I was like to myself, okay, we're actually doing some of these things now. Okay, people are calling them experiential, but it's events now. I mean, that's
the easiest way to explain it.
Exactly. But then over time, you got to realize that it is not an event. It is actually the ability to connect, to connect way beyond that particular event. Because you could have an event and people leave it and they don't take anything out of it. But you could have an event that actually, okay, so we're having an event, like I mentioned the EXMAN summit. And I mean, the theme was something about culture. and everybody was asked to choose costumes, and people
Yeah.
actually chose costumes. And honestly, I can tell you that at the end of the whole activity, everybody's going to have some kind of takeaway, some kind of memory
Yes.
of that particular activity, even though it was done in a voting year. But I can tell you that that particular event, that particular
Would be
activity is
remembered.
going to strike something. So you can have an
Yes.
event, you can have a party, you can have a wedding, and it's forgotten.
True.
But you can have a party, you can have an event, and everybody remembers it.
Yes.
Why? You created connections, you created experiences.
Experiences.
That's just what it is.
Now, the reason I asked that question is I personally feel like young people are not aware that this industry exists. And my question is, does you being the vice president of EXMAN, I don't know if it's in your agenda or EXMAN has anything in place or a plan to connect to younger people, maybe from university, maybe from the post-diploma stage, where people are aware that this industry exists and people are opportuned to be deliberate about choosing this career path early.
Okay, so good. Again, I'll mention the EXMAN Summit. One of the tracks in the EXMAN Summit was actually the academic track. And the academic track actually came up specifically because of this thing you mentioned.
Okay.
Why? I've had interns work with me from various universities. We had some from some marketing department from somewhere
Yeah.
and somewhere. And to start with, the first question I always ask them is, so how did you hear about us? And at that point, it's usually just maybe they checked online or something and they found out. Then when they come, they then realize that, hey, come, I've never heard of this before.
Yes.
And then you start to train them. And then we realize, so talking with the team at different meetings, it comes up, what you've just said, that we have a challenge. Young people, when they teach them marketing, when they teach them advertising, a lot of them don't know or understand what experiential marketing is. And that's where, first and foremost, the academic track came in.
Okay.
Then second of all, one of the things that honestly, we actually just had a brief meeting with the new ESCO, and the young people was one of the things that we looked into. So yes, fingers crossed, we're looking into taking that as an assignment because it's actually important. And honestly, for me, on as a person, it's really very important for me because, like I said, I've had interns from different universities, and we've had that. And over the years, I find I'm going to be doing like a talk in one of the universities sometime before the end of the month, again, because of this. And they came for internship. They realized, and then from all the various schools, we keep on getting, please, can I come to do you understand?
Yes.
It's fun to have them, but as well as it's fun, they're also all learning.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's beautiful. I think my last question would be, what do you think is currently the biggest challenge in the experiential marketing industry? I know there could be a lot, but that particular pain point.
Pain point, budget. Budget in terms of, or should I say payments? I think that's a pain point for everyone. Maybe before it would necessarily not have been a pain point, but it's always been a pain point, honestly. Reason being that even when, honestly, we're all, most of us are SMEs, if we use that word.
Yeah.
Nobody, I'm not sure any of us is a conglomerate. Even if they were conglomerates, they're not banks.
Yes.
And if they were banks, that would work for them to bankroll the clients. But hey, it's the business we run.
Yes.
And being able to also bankroll your client's business is also, that's your financial capability.
Yeah.
Is also part of your test
True.
of being an agency. That's fine. But then when we now want to start getting to push it into 90 days payment, which for some people, I have a client who the 30 days after you invoice is 30 days. Is, I think that's usually, sometimes you just get an alert and you're like, who is paying?
Rare.
It's very rare, you understand?
Yes.
So I think that's one of our major pain points.
But is there any way at all that could there be a conversation between EXMAN and a body?
Okay.
Something to...
So AppCon, so thankfully to the past administration, something that has been on almost as old as EXMAN has been our integration into AppCon.
Yeah.
So that we actually become a legal body. And finally, an AppCon council was inaugurated, is that the word? And then finally all the past works came to bear, and we're now part of APCON. So we're actually part of the sectorial industry and all of that. And these discussions are ongoing. I think there will be more discussions. They'll be speaking to some of these industries, and hopefully something happens. But don't forget, we also cannot change their policies. So I think we have to just sit down and find out the midpoint.
Yes. Thank you very much, Tolu Medebem. Thanks a lot. It was wonderful having you.
Thank you very much
for having me. And we've come to the end of today's episode. Thank you. Till next time. Bye-bye.